Hello, everybody. Mike Shoesmith here. And what you're looking at here is the Wikipedia 2016 page. I'm not going to stay here, but this is where we'll start. Basically, this is what Wikipedia has to say about the year 2016. There's some interesting stuff on here, which we don't get to until we get down further. See here. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on that you guys can check out for yourself. There's a couple of things I want to get to here sooner rather than later. Some television stuff. Ghostbusters here. Look at this here. And this is not. We're not hanging our hat on anything here to do with Ghostbusters, but I just thought it was interesting that Ghostbusters 2. There's a woman there. She's a psychic woman, and she claims that an alien told her that the world would end February 2016. And I also found it interesting that Atlas Shrugged, which is a more serious look at contemporary ideas and what's going on with socialism having a stranglehold on Western culture. I just thought it was interesting, and I picked this up while I was watching Atlas Shrugged Part 1, that it is set in 2016. So the demise of capitalism and really the proper way of handling governing a society, protecting it so that capitalist ideas can flourish and the marketplace can flourish. Essentially that's the role of government as far as I'm concerned, protecting the three-legged stool of borders, language, and culture. And people might say, well, what about when greed sets in and so on? Well, we have to protect, capitalists ought to protect the system which functions perfectly as long as greed is kept away, and so the capitalists, people ought to keep greed out. Capitalism doesn't have any interest in raping the land of all of its resources because that doesn't serve a long-term purpose. It's important to protect resources and to protect the environment and to not pollute the environment. I mean, capitalism, in its purest form, seeks to protect these things. And so Atlas Shrugged, the book and the movies, they are an expose on what happens when a culture allows socialism to take root, and the nanny state is seen as something worth protecting when in fact it breeds mediocrity and a laziness culture that destroys families and so on. I mean, I wasn't going to go there on this video, but here we are. Anyway, Atlas Shrugged, I highly recommend that. It doesn't take a real solid Christian view of things, but Christianity embraces wisdom and truth, and capitalism is wisdom and truth, and so they did a really good job with that, I thought, anyway. and so that is all set in 2016, which I thought was, perhaps prescient in its own way, because Obama's term ends essentially at the end of 2016, January 2017. And then we have 2016, Obama's America. That is a predictive retrospective from the end of the U.S. President Barack Obama's second term. And then there's a couple of video games here I want to talk to you guys about. This one here in particular, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Here's the Wikipedia page for it. It is set in 2016. It came out in 2009. And I want to talk to you guys about this one for a little while here, because there may be something prescient about this as well, a predictive quality about it, because it takes place in 2016, but it was released in 2009, while there was peace in the world between Russia, and Russia was considered an ally, was embraced as part of the group of the G group, was added and became part of the G8, and there were summits held with Russia included. But the plot here Despite the efforts of the U.S. Marine Corps, remember this is 2009, folks. The U.S. Marine Corps and British Special Air Service in the previous game, the ultra-nationalists seized control of the Russian Federation. So now the Russians, they become an ultra-nationalist society, and they begin a campaign of revenge by committing acts of terrorism over the course of 5 years. Well, what is an ultra-nationalist? Ultranationalism is a zealous nationalism that expresses extremist support for one's nationalist ideals, etc., etc. So Russia really has stepped into taking an ultra-nationalist view of itself. Seeking, even claiming to be seeking protection of Russians in foreign lands like Ukraine. So, I mean, were the people that created Call of Duty, were they, perhaps receiving information? I don't know. I mean, what do you say about that, right? What do you say about that? Where are they getting their information from? What do they know? Maybe we should be knocking on their door and interviewing them. I don't know. Let's move on here, shall we? That's the end of that. But I want to talk to you guys about a very recent prediction made by French foreign minister. He says there's 500 days to avoid climate chaos. That's right. Secretary of State John Kerry welcomed French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius to the State Department. I'm not sure if that's how you say his name. I just thought I'd say it that way. In Washington on Tuesday. This was May 14th. It's just a few days ago, 4 days ago. And the foreign minister says that there's only 500 days remain to avoid climate chaos. He says, well, I'm very happy to be with John. There's no week without a phone call or a visit between John and myself, and we have on the agenda many issues. Iran, because negotiations are resuming today, the question of Syria, and we shall meet next Thursday in London together. Ukraine as well, and very important issues, issue of climate change and climate chaos. And we have, as I said, he says again, we have 500 days to avoid climate chaos. And I know that President Obama and John Kerry himself are committed on this project, and I'm sure that with them, with a lot of other friends, we shall be able to reach success on this very important matter. Well, 500 days, in the article says, it's unclear what the foreign minister had in mind with the 500 days. However, France is scheduled to host the 21st conference of the parties on climate change in December of 2015, about 565 days from now. So essentially the end of 2015. So that's getting into 2016 almost, right? So if we don't have, according to this minister, if we don't have the climate change issue sorted out by the end of 2015, climate chaos will ensue in 2016. I mean, that's essentially what he's saying here. So multiple, chaos scenarios to play out here, being reported all over the place here. And you know what? ppsimmons' stand is on this. Eventually, one day, the world will not end. This age is coming to an end, though. The age of man's dominion on the earth, and God will once again reclaim the planet that He once leased to us, and He'll take it back. And it will be a theocracy. The meritocracy will be over. The theocracy will begin, and God, the righteous one, will rule and reign the earth as it should be, because it belongs to Him anyhow. And those of us who have served Him in this life will serve Him in the next, in a role in a particular office of some sort on the earth with Him. And a new age will begin, and we look forward to that new age. My name is Mike Shoesmith. Thank you for watching.